Today, understand how the seed is perceived, not through the five senses. The five senses cannot read the seed. The seed is metaphysical, and the five senses only report what has already physically expressed. The seed is perceived through the first sense, the inner sense, the sense that reads actuality before the physical world has confirmed it. This is the 7-minute daily focus, day 119 of 365, to focus on the world within from the world without. Today's focus, the law of seed, first sense and the seed. Pause for a moment. 6 days in, you have covered the seed's introduction, nature, identity with thought, ground, thinking, and stability. Today, understand how the seed is perceived, not through the five senses. The five senses cannot read the seed. The seed is metaphysical, and the five senses only report what has already physically expressed. The seed is perceived through the first sense, the inner sense, the sense that reads actuality before the physical world has confirmed it. Pause. You understand the first sense from the law of reality. The first sense is the instrument of the world within. It is the inner perception of awareness, the intuitive sense that precedes everything the five senses can report. It is how you perceive truth before the physical world confirms it. It is how you know before you physically see. And this same first sense is the instrument through which the seed is recognized. Pause. The seed is not seen with physical eyes. It is not heard, not touched, not weighed or measured, but it is perceived through the first sense. The first sense reads what is within. It reads the completeness of the seed. It reads the actuality of what the seed already holds before a single physical sign has appeared, before the condition has moved, before the physical world has confirmed anything. The first sense perceives the seed as real. Thought is within, effect is without, thinking stands between. Pause for a moment. Most people wait for the five senses to confirm the seed before they recognize it. They wait for physical evidence. They wait for a visible sign that the seed is developing. They wait for something without to tell them what is within. But that is reading the expression and calling it the cause. That is living from effect. The first sense does not wait. The first sense reads what is within now, before the physical world has moved, before the condition has changed, before a single external thing has confirmed it. Pause. This is why the first sense is essential for working with the seed, because the seed exists in the world within, not in the world without. And the instrument that operates in the world within is the first sense. The five senses can only tell you about what is already expressed. The first sense tells you about what is already real within before expression. And the seed is what is real within, already complete, already carrying its full expression, already perceived by the first sense as real. Pause for a moment. Consider what it means to perceive the seed through the first sense. It is not imagination. It is not wishful thinking. It is not manufacturing a feeling of certainty that you do not naturally have. It is the recognition through the first sense of what is already real within. You are not creating the reality of the seed in that moment of recognition. You are perceiving the reality that is already there. The first sense reads actuality, and actuality is complete before you perceive it. Pause for a moment. And here is the practical implication. When the first sense perceives the seed as real, thinking naturally aligns with that reality, because thinking follows what is perceived by the first sense. When the first sense reads actuality, thinking is directed toward actuality. When the five senses reads what is without, thinking moves toward what is without. This is why cultivating the first sense matters so deeply, because where the first sense looks, thinking follows, and what thinking is sustained upon develops. Pause. As the first sense reads the seed, it communicates through a specific quality, not noise, not urgency, not excitement or anxiety, a quiet certainty, a stillness that carries knowing, a recognition that does not need external confirmation. This is the signature of the first sense reading actuality. And when you sense it, you know you are aligned with the seed. You know the first sense is reading what is real within. And that alignment is the starting point for sustained thinking, because from that point of recognition, you sustain thinking upon what the first sense has already confirmed, upon what is already real, upon what is already complete. And in doing so, you direct the development of the seed, steadfast, focused, remaining. Pause for a moment. The first sense and the seed have this relationship. The first sense reads the seed, and in reading it, confirms its reality, not by examining it, not by analyzing it, but by perceiving it directly. The way you perceive warmth without analyzing whether warmth is real. The way you know the sun is bright without a study of light. The first sense knows the seed is complete, directly, without inference, without reasoning toward a conclusion. It simply reads what is within and confirms. And in that confirmation, thinking has its foundation. Because thinking that is grounded in the confirmation of the first sense is steady, and steady thinking sustained upon the seed develops it fully, without compromise, not doubtfulness, not struggle, not force. You are not pushing the seed, not pressure. You are not trying to make it happen, but steadfastness, focused. Remain aligned with what is within. Do not be moved by what is physically seen, because what is physically seen is always secondary to what is unfolding. Pause. The first sense operates most clearly in stillness. This is why this daily practice begins as it does, in stillness, before the five senses introduce the noise of what is without. In that stillness, the first sense reads the seed, recognizes its completeness, perceives the actuality of what is within. And in that recognition, thinking is aligned with the seed, and aligned thinking, sustained upon the seed, develops it. And what develops unfolds, and what unfolds must physically express. Pause for a moment. So from this day, the connection between the first sense and the seed is understood. You perceive the seed through the first sense, not through the five senses, not by waiting for physical confirmation, not by measuring what is without, but by reading what is already within through the first sense, which reads actuality, which perceives the seed as complete, as real, as already carrying its full expression. And that perception is the beginning of aligned thinking. And aligned thinking, sustained steadily, is development. And development is expression. Now, the affirmation for day 119. Pause for a moment. I perceive the seed through the first sense, not through the five senses, not through physical evidence, through the inner sense that reads what is already real within. The first sense perceives the seed as complete, as real, as already holding its full expression. I am still enough to receive that perception. I do not wait for the physical world to confirm what the first sense already knows. I sustain thinking upon what the first sense perceives. Steadfast, focused, and because I sustain, the seed develops, and because it develops, it unfolds, and what unfolds must physically express. Remember, by design, by focus.